spirituality is not hunky-dory stuff going in the mountains and meditating. I think the biggest spiritual lessons that I had was during the most painful times. Namaste. I would like to introduce myself as a nobody doing nothing, but I know that won't fly. My name is Bidhan. I'm a homemaker, a career banker, an entrepreneur, and doing multiple roles like any one of you. 2012 is when I chanced upon Upanishads, and it had a profound impact on my life. Since then, I have dreamt to bring the key aspects of Upanishads in a manner which is simple, relatable, and implementable in our daily lives. So here we are with a set of videos to make spirituality simple. Welcome, Preeti. We are back to our episodes of trying to make spirituality simple. I hope we are simplifying it.
Yes, I think we're treading the right path.
Tell me what you have understood simply.
No, but I think I like how that it's all being broken down into like really small segments so that it's not overwhelming also, right? So which is why I'm able to recap these things really well.
Okay.
Right? So I remember, the points I remember are that we are all spiritual beings. Spirituality is our inherent nature, right? If we do claim this true essence, then we don't have to be dependent on any external factors, any situations or people, right? And also you said that the first step was where we kind of distance ourselves from our emotions and our feelings and see it as separate from us. Right? That was our first step. And also we spoke about a lot of benefits. I think in the last session, we spoke about benefits where we spoke about how one was that it will help you have better shock absorbers for any kind of potholes that you may encounter in your life. And also the ability to use your intelligence in moments of stress. If you are, it gives you more emotional maturity so that you can use intelligence in times of stress consistently.
Correct.
Right? And of course, the last one, we also spoke about how it helps you take responsibility rather than placing blame or going into that self-pity mode. It helps us take responsibility for anything that happens in our life.
Perfect.
Right? So those were the three instant, like you said, those were the instant benefits that I remember.
And before you continue, I hope that there's a message which is going on right when we are saying that when you create a distance between who you are and your emotions and beliefs. I hope we understand clearly that we are not talking about suppressing it, but simply observing and witnessing it and being with it.
Right. Yeah, observing as a separate entity.
As a separate entity. So there's no question of suppressing anything. It's a observation is what we are trying to say, instead of immediately identifying with it.
Yes.
I hope that piece is...
That part is, very clear.
Very clear.
Yeah.
And the second part is that spirituality is not about inaction.
Okay. It's about not doing anything.
Not doing anything.
Okay.
Because when we are talking about the benefits, you can clearly see that it's all about taking responsibility. It's all about being... it's not about just lying down and then saying, okay, jo ho raha hai hone do.
Right. It's about taking action, but being more aware when you take action.
Bingo.
Right.
So taking conscious actions.
Okay.
It's not about lack of actions.
Right. So I asked you this question last time about, yes, I do know that I know people who are very resilient, who it seems like they seem to bounce back from anything that is thrown at them.
Right.
They seem to bounce back very easily. And as far as I know, they have not been on this journey of self-discovery or, spirituality or, they have not been on that journey.
Right.
So how is it that they are able to be so resilient?
Okay. Let's take a scenario that you and I have invested into stock market.
Okay.
And both of us have lost lakhs of rupees. It may so happen that you may not go tremendous amount of pain compared to me. If your identification with money is less, right? And I may end up thinking that you are mentally very resilient. But imagine another situation where both you and I are into a relationship and our relationship has gone really bad. And for all you know, I may be very resilient with a bad relationships, but you may actually go into depression. And you may think that I am very resilient. The point is, we are all resilient in pockets, in areas where we are not too identified or attached with. Maybe your attachment with money may be less. Maybe my attachment with my relationship is less. So for all you know, these are the areas that do not impact us. But there are other aspects where we are very attached to. Those areas will affect us significantly. So to answer your question, are there people who are completely resilient and nothing
phases
them? Unlikely. There are certain things which will affect them. There are a lot of things which will not affect them. But at the same time, I would also like to kind of suggest that yes, there are people whose ability to bounce back from bad situations or any worse situation is very high. It's on account of their innate intelligence that they carry because of their samskaras. Now this is a specific word, samskara, which is used in Upanishads, which kind of says that even after the death, we carry our mental impressions. So the learnings that you and I are having in this lifetime does not go waste. It will go along with us. So if we are able to a lot more aware and train our mind, the benefit accrues in multiple lifetimes. Wow. So for all you know, you will be one of those people at some point of time, if not in lifetime, this lifetime, the other lifetime. And then people may wonder that how is it that you're able to bounce back from this problem so quickly, because it's not always, this is not our first life. There are multiple lives that we have born, and those impressions either benefit us or affect us.
Okay.
So that also is a very big possibility.
Right.
So it could be either you may not be identified or attached, or for all you know, you are carrying those samskaras.
Yeah. But to be very honest and blunt, right? Life is not always about just the simple anxieties. There are more complex things, like it could be health related. It can be something as severe as cancer or a death of a loved one, being in an abusive relationship, going through a very traumatic breakup. I mean, there are so many things huge things that people go through, right? Now, it's all well and good to say you have to observe your emotions, you have to observe your feelings. But what about on these, big tasks? It's good in theory, but will spirituality actually help me even in the big moments?
Tasks? The answer is yes and no.
Straight answer will not come.
And I'll tell you why. So again, the best way to understand these things is through a story or an analogy. So there's a captain, and he used to ferry people from the shore to an island. And every time before he used to ferry people and go into the sea, he used to sit and pray. So a lot of young people around in the ship, they started laughing at him, thinking, why are you even praying? The sea is calm and the weather is clear. Why are you wasting your time praying? Let's go on. Let's move on into the sea. So one of those days when he moved on into the sea, suddenly the sea became very rough. The weather became very bad. And it felt as if the ship will topple. All those young people there started praying that God help us, save us. And they saw that man is not doing it. The captain continues to hold the ship. And one of them went and told him, this is the time when you should pray. He said, no. When the sea is clear, when everything is calm, that is the time when I pray. And when the sea is rough, at that point of time, I hold on to the wheels. Okay, right? So the point is, if you are going through stress and trauma, at that very point of time, if you want to say, is spirituality going to help me? The answer is no. What matters is how I have lived my life when things are fine or things were fine.
In the calm waters.
In the calm waters.
Okay.
Right? If you have been training your mind when the waters were calm, and when you have been in a spiritual path when the waters were calm, then when the waters become rough, the innate intelligence automatically takes over.
Right.
But unfortunately, what happens is when the waters are calm, we basically feel, wow, we are the kings of the universe.
Yeah.
Right? And waters goes rough. At that point of time, suddenly when we turn towards spirituality or we turn towards self-awareness, we end up seeing that it's not working immediately. Look, it takes time. It's not an overnight thing. And with my own experience, I can tell you it has benefited me immensely to ride through rough waters. But yes, I was fortunate enough to be exposed to this path when the waters were calm.
Right. So when the waters are calm and you're exposed to the path, it gives us the rewards that we spoke about, the benefits that we spoke about, right?
Yes.
About having good shock absorbers in life and being more, having a better ability to use my intelligence in times of stress.
You're right. And see, it's nothing wrong to turn towards spirituality when things really go bad, because that's how most of us look at it. But at that point of time, expecting an immediate outcome is too much to ask for. That's something that we need to understand, that it may not be that spirituality as a process is not working. For all you know, you have just started and it will take time.
So what else can I do then rather than I can weather the storm, like that's one of the options. But other than that, what are the other actions or what can I do?
That's a very nice question. That one is to weather the storm, to be observant, but what do I do at that point of time? And we are certainly going to talk about it, Preeti. We are going to talk about what is karma and how we use a concept called karma yoga to tide over these difficult storms in our life.
Okay.
We are certainly going to talk about it. Right now, there are only two things that I want us to kind of get a hang on. One is that there is something called you, the spiritual being, who can observe your mind and your emotions as a separate thing from yourself. And the second important thing is that when you are undergoing a lot of pain, pain is a powerful portal for change. It's a powerful portal for change. And let us not fritter away that pain that we are going through. Let me ask you, do you think anything creative happens without pain? Any transformation happens without pain?
No, I think there is a certain level of pain in everything. I mean, even childbirth is painful, so creation is happening, right? So
Yeah.
I think, no, certain level of pain. Maybe the levels are different, but I think there's a level of pain in creation or change.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, if you look at evolution, it's very painful to watch how the species get eradicated for another species to take over. Right? I mean, even if you go gymming, it's painful exercise.
Yeah.
Right? Now, there is a pain. There's a pain associated with every transformation. Now, why it is, I don't know. I mean, this is what Maya, this is how the structure works. But we have to understand that pain is here to help us transform. And sometimes we don't understand in that moment, why are we going through this pain? Unfortunately, what happens is that a lot of time we fritter away this pain by either blaming others, that he or she is responsible, or self-pity, saying that entire universe is conspiring against me, all the wrong things in the universe only happens to me, or self-blame, that I'm not good enough. So a lot of time this pain does not transform us purely because we externalize it. Right? If we take away those distractions of blaming others, blaming myself, and self-pity, and being with this pain can really help us transform.
Right. So that is where the third benefit comes into place, right? Where you spoke about not blaming or not going into self-pity.
Correct.
So even if I do feel the pain, if I sort of start taking responsibility and not thinking that the pain is because of this, because of that, but rather it is coming as a sign for some transformation to come.
Right.
I think just having that knowledge itself will is very beneficial.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Spirituality is not hunky-dory stuff going in the mountains and meditating. Right?
Yeah.
I think the biggest spiritual lessons that I had was during the most painful times.
Yeah.
The only advantage that I had was that I have trained myself to be a little bit more aware. So when I was going through that tremendous amount of pain, I started asking myself that why I'm experiencing those pains.
Right.
Why I am feeling the way I am feeling. What in me is so incomplete that is hurting me so much. And then something interesting happens, and I feel this is how it works. And unfortunately, most of us miss that opportunity when we are going through pain. Either we get into binge watching, binge eating, alcoholism, and distracting ourselves through multiple other relationships, and we do a whole lot of things. There's nothing wrong in it. I'm not trying to justify and say that is right and this is wrong. That's not the idea. The point I'm just trying to say is that pain in itself is the biggest portal to change, and spirituality helps us observe and process the pain in a manner that it helps us evolve.
Okay. So basically you're saying that if we do go down this path, there's no question of this concept of rock and a hard place itself.
Exactly.
Right?
That's your frame of reference when you say rock and a hard place.
Okay. So it's just going to enable me to make better decisions and also take action.
Yes.
Rather than just like sitting in the mountains and waiting to attain moksha. Moksha, which reminds me, I've heard this word moksha a lot, okay? And I use it also without knowing what it even means. So what is moksha?
Very simple. It's moha shaya.
Quite simple. Thanks, Vedant. You've explained it all very well.
Moksha is a complicated subject. As you rightly said, we use this word very easily, and that calls for another episode to understand what moksha is all about. And honestly, the ultimate long-term benefit of spirituality is moksha. But what does it mean? What does it mean to people like you and me and to our audience? Let's discuss this in our next session.
Definitely. Okay, we will discuss it for sure.
Yeah.
So what I can take away from our discussion today is that, of course, pain is inevitable.
Yeah.
We all experience some level of pain or the other. It's just that if I tread this path towards spirituality, I am able to process the pain a little better.
Right.
Right? And also it helps me take action, make better decisions, and take action in any moments that I need it.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was my big takeaway from today's session.
Yeah.
A lot to handle. I think I'm going to process all this and definitely come back with more questions in the next episode.
Absolutely. I've asked about moksha, that itself is a big topic in itself. And to make spirituality simple, spirituality helps us transcend pain by processing it in the way it should be.
And helping us evolve, I suppose.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great.
Thank you, Preeti. Thank you for coming over.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vedant.
If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share for all those who can benefit from it.
And of course, leave your valuable comments below so that we can bring you more relevant and good content. Thank you so much.